the silence has finally been broken. After weeks of speculation, unanswered questions, and emotional tension, the father of the late Nathi Mthethwa has stepped forward to share his side of the story, and what he's revealed has left the entire nation stunned. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, because what's unfolding right now is more than just a story about loss. It's about secrets, betrayal, and the truth that refuses to stay buried. When Nathi Mthethwa was laid to rest, the ceremony was supposed to be a peaceful farewell, a moment of closure for his family, friends, and community. But what happened that day was anything but ordinary. According to witnesses, the atmosphere was tense, emotional, and filled with whispers. People who had once stood shoulder to shoulder in politics and power circles were suddenly avoiding each other's eyes. Security was unusually tight, and the air was thick with suspicion. Now, for the first time since that fateful day, Nathi's father has spoken out, and his words have reopened wounds many were trying to forget. In an emotional statement, Mr. Mthethwa, visibly shaken, said, "My son didn't deserve the death he got. And from the way his burial went, I know there are people who are hiding the truth." Those words hit hard. They weren't just the cries of a grieving father, they were an accusation, directed squarely at those who handled the investigation into his son's death. He went on to describe the strange things that happened in the days leading up to the burial, people showing up uninvited, unknown vehicles following the family, and what he described as a wall of silence from officials who had promised transparency. Sources close to the family revealed that the burial turned into a scene of quiet confrontation. Prominent figures attended, faces from the political elite, police, and even entertainment circles. But what shocked many was the absence of key government representatives, some of whom had publicly praised Nathi during his life. Mr. Mthethwa described the burial as strange and cold, saying it felt like the event was being monitored. Some guests even claimed to see unfamiliar men taking photos and video recordings around the cemetery. It was supposed to be a final goodbye. Instead, it felt like a continuation of the mystery surrounding his son's death. Ever since the death of Nathi Mthethwa, the circumstances have been unclear. Conflicting reports, missing CCTV footage, and unanswered questions about who was present that night have all fueled speculation. Mr. Mthethwa's statement has only intensified those suspicions. He insisted that the investigation was mishandled, that critical evidence was either ignored or tampered with, and that certain individuals were protected from scrutiny. He didn't mention names, but his tone said everything. "Those who know what happened are still walking free," he said. "And I will not rest until I see justice done for my son." Behind the emotional outburst lies a family living in fear. Mr. Mthethwa revealed that strange calls and messages began coming in shortly after his son's death, some offering condolences, others issuing veiled threats. He says he's been told to let the matter go, to stop asking questions, and to move on. But how can a father move on when the truth remains buried? Family members say they've noticed cars parked outside their home for hours, people watching from a distance, and unidentified men claiming to be investigators. But no official documentation has ever been presented. It's a chilling reminder of how deep the story might go, and how dangerous it could be to uncover. The implications of Mr. Mthethwa's statement have rippled through political circles. Questions are once again being raised about who benefited from his son's silence, and whether the investigation was deliberately derailed. Insiders suggest that some within the ANC are privately panicking. With the father now speaking out, new pressure is mounting on both the police and government to reopen the case and re-examine the evidence. Analysts say this could reignite tensions that the party has been desperate to bury, especially with growing public anger over corruption and a lack of accountability. One political commentator said, "This isn't just about one man's death anymore. It's about what that death reveals. A system built on silence, fear, and secrecy." Across South Africa, the public has reacted with a mix of outrage and heartbreak. On social media, hashtags like #JusticeForNathi and #TruthForMthethwa have gone viral. Citizens are demanding that investigators reopen the file, re-interview witnesses, and release all withheld evidence. Supporters gathered outside the Mthethwa family home, holding placards that read "Enough lies" and "We want answers." Even some public figures have begun to speak up, saying what many are thinking, that Nathi's death was not an accident, and that his burial was never meant to bring closure, but to cover up the truth. Mr. Mthethwa says he's now prepared to go public with everything he knows. He claims to have documents and recordings that could prove his son's case was mishandled, and he's willing to hand them over to investigators if it means reopening the probe. But those close to the family worry about his safety. He's walking on dangerous ground, one friend said. If he really has what he says, there are people who won't want it coming out. Legal experts believe that if the investigation is reopened, it could expose a web of corruption, cover-ups, and collusion stretching far beyond one death, possibly implicating powerful figures who never expected the truth to resurface. As the dust settles, one thing is clear, the silence is over. Nathi Mthethwa's father has spoken, and his words have reignited a fire that the system hoped had burned out. The question now is, how far will the truth go, and who will stand in its way? For now, the Mthethwa family is standing firm, demanding justice, and refusing to let their son's memory fade into another forgotten case. This story is far from over. Stay tuned as we follow every twist and turn, because the truth, no matter how long it takes, always finds a way out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this developing story. The storm around Nathi Mthethwa's death is only beginning, and what's coming next could shake South Africa to its core.